Good afternoon, YouTube. This is your man, always George Page, coming to you live on YouTube. We know this is a very special day for two reasons. As you know, if you saw the news a while ago, they announced that June 16th is now Juneteenth is now officially a holiday. And I'm gonna do the video working on that one later because that's most important. Something that must be acknowledged. Anyway, this is a person that needs to be acknowledged. This is a legend, and he was one of the greatest rappers ever to have come out of the state of New York. Just a legend of what he did and what he accomplished over his career. This is a gentleman that you don't have to really say his name, but you know who he is. But for those who are a bit ignorant, this is one Mr. Tupac Shakur. Now, he's born Tupac Amaru Shakur, but his on his birth certificate, his name was Lisane Parish Crooks. But he took the name Shakur. It was because his mother, Afeni Shakur, was a Black Panther, and he was born to his mother Afeni Shakur, and his father, who is sometimes I'm looking at Wikipedia, get all the information because there's a lot of stuff. You gotta, his father, uh, Kadea, what's his name? Billy Garland. That was his name, Billy Garland. But he did had a stepfather by the name of Matulu. If I got his name right, Shakur. And that's where we got the name Shakur from. So, and he grew up. He was born in New York around June 16th of 1971. In New York City, and he as a kid, he grew up in around the Baltimore area, and also even lived in North Carolina for a bit. I remember somebody telling me that he had family around the area, even where I live at. There was people that knew him when he was coming up. Now, as a boy, there's some struggles. Him and his sister was raised by his mother. His mother had to deal with problem with drugs and stuff like that, and especially around about the late '80s, about the early, the late '80s at the start of the crack epidemic and how it hit the neighborhoods in our community. And he was a very smart kid, a studious kid, and even for one time he lived in around the San Francisco Bay Area, and they lived in LA for a while. But eventually came back home to New York, and he went to school in Baltimore. And he was a pretty smart kid. He was no slouch, Tupac. And he was just an intelligent young man. And even though he did, sell dope, like a lot of the young men coming up at that time, the era of drugs, the crack area, he did, he did sell. But you know what? He rarely ever got busted. He never got caught. But he really had a passion for music. He loved the rap music coming up around about the good part of the '80s, and and then he became part of a group called Digital Underground, which was you remember was where he started. He was the dancer, and also he did some rapping. And during his career with Digital Underground, he's toured a lot. It was even in a movie where called Nothing But Trouble, if I can remember the name of it right. And that was his first debut in a movie. He played himself. But later on, around about '91, he starred in one of the most classic, hood movies. You might say, Juice. As it was the movie of how a group of friends who came up together, and they found a gun. And you remember his character was Bishop, and in the movie they killed one of the friends, shot Steele, and it was him and Omar Epps. Yes, Omar Epps. Yeah, him and Omar Epps' character were, facing off each other till, he got killed in that movie. But Juice is one of the great movies. I mean, I tell you, if you can find it, all you gotta do, hey, you can jump on YouTube. and find Juice. You can find it anywhere. You can pull it up. It's everywhere. And during the time, he was still with Danger Underground, touring, performing, but he started to go become a solo artist. Around about 91, his first album, Apocalypse Now. And he was working with artists like Eazy-E and he even met Suge Knight at that time. Now, for a while, he also, around 93, he started one of his biggest movies ever, which was the John Singleton movie, Poetic Justice with Janet Jackson. And that was a great movie. It was a love story. Everybody's seen the movie. Going from L.A. to Oakland on a mail truck, And he also did appearances on TV shows like Living Color. He was in an episode of A Different World because he was good friends with Jada Pinkett Smith. They grew up together. They were good friends, And he also, in 94, he was in the movie Above the Rim with Marlon Wayans, Leon. And also, you remember Bernie Mac was in the movie, And also Tisha Campbell's husband. I forget his name, Now, around about that time, Tupac was a victim of a robbery. He was shot. He was injured. But, he was able to survive. He had some surgery, but he was all right. But he blamed the robbery set up by one Christopher Biggie Smalls, Notorious B.I.G. But there's never evidence that Biggie did this. I mean, there's been so many different stories, And there was also, he had another situation. Something happened where he was, had charges filed for sexual assault. And this is kind of funny. About that same time, the actor Rob Lowe, he was filed charges of sexual assault. He was sleeping with a minor. But Tupac, he was sentenced to about 18 years, actually 18 months in prison. And during that time, he was writing music, putting things together. I mean, he kept his time busy. And when he got out, he moved back to the West Coast and he hooked up with Suge Knight, or Mario Knight, you want to know him, and he became part of Death Row Records. He worked with Dr. Dre, Snoop Doggy Dogg. He made albums, and he started one of his greatest albums, All Eyes on Me. And there's some hits come out of that album. I mean, dear, and one of them I think is I Get Around, and Hit 'Em Up, where he was calling out to his Big. And then there's his song Dear Mama, where he dedicated to his mother Afeni, and they had a close relationship. I mean, I can understand how much this is. I'm gonna say like this: a boy's best friend is his mother. No matter what, if you've never been raised by a mother, especially a single mother, she's the closest woman you're ever gonna be. She's your true love. And during this time, Suge and Pac, became close friends, and they often hanged out together. But there was still that rivalry between Pac and Big, and it's pretty much the whole Bad Boys and Death Row got kind of just folded into it. Well, in around 95, Pac and the rest of some of the members of Death Row and Suge Knight went to a Mike Tyson fight. It was the first fight between him and Evander Holyfield. And, he was good friends with Mike Tyson. He knew Mike Tyson. And often, Suge drove, but Pac was driving. And, and they were stopped and they got shot at. But what happened was that, Suge was injured, but Pac didn't survive. And we lost, a great singer and great artist. It was, his death happened in, I remember as a kid when I heard that, I mean, I was just broken heart. I mean, I was a fan of Tupac. It's just, it's just, just how it happened. Even though he was gone, he rose again. He created so many new songs. His one of his last albums, He made 2 more albums because at the time said Pac was in prison and that time he had nothing to do, so he just write. And then we got out, he was just making songs, doing music, and his music repertoire, his acting repertoire, pretty good. But before he died, Pac put out a couple of movies. There was a Gridlock, and also there was Bullet, and also there was the movie. I forget what's the name of the movie. I know the movie name. This is one with him, Jim Belushi, where they play a couple of cops. And you gotta think about it. Tupac. One thing that people forget about, Tupac put a song out where it was about anti-cop song, and him playing a cop was surprising. And it was a movie gang related, and that was pretty much came out really after his death the following year. Pac also, there's some people don't know this, that Pac also was dating Madonna. And this is a true story. I found this out a few months back. And at one point, they were quite, in a way, serious. But what it was, Pac had to realize if he got serious with her, because, it would probably, hurt his fan base, especially among the sisters, among black women. But you know what? I think at that time, Madonna was trying to look for somebody to settle down with. She wanted to, have a baby, have a family. And I think she liked Pac because Pac was that type of guy. I mean, I've seen pictures of him hanging out with women. He was just cool. You could say he was a gangster. You could say about his movies, his songs, his stuff like that. But his songs like, Brenda Had a Baby and, and Dear Mama. And, he really had a love for women, You might say, he put out the other stuff because those stuff that everybody else want to listen to, but he really had love for women, And I feel like this. This is my personal belief. And, and don't get on my case on it. I feel like if he had settled down with her, maybe that night he wouldn't have been there with Suge Knight. I don't know. Or the situation could change. We don't, it's just, you never know what life could have been like if he went that route and got with Madonna. He would have had a family. Anyway, Tupac is just a legend. I mean, just on his music. There was there wasn't that long ago that there was a movie called All Eyes on Me, which was about his life story. And then we see the movie, sometimes some of these documentaries are not that good. But what I heard, some people say it was like so-so. But, like I said, Pac was just a legend. I mean, the music he put out, the movies he did, the TV shows he did. I mean, songs you remember, like Hit 'Em Up, Brenda Had a Baby, like I said, I Get Around. Hail Mary was one of my favorites where he became Machiavelli. I remember that one, Smile for Me, with him, Scarface, where actually he did that song, but in the video he had somebody else as a body substitute. It was just, it was a great song, But, you know what? Today would have been his 50th birthday. And we think about it. If he lived today, what he could have done, as a musician, as an actor, as just his talent and his intelligence. It's just sad how violence, kind of just, takes the best of us. It's one thing to die from disease of old age, but then have somebody who would just don't care about your life, and it's it's just. Like with Nipsey, what happened with Nipsey Hussle and with Jam Master Jay and Biggie and and all these other rappers that died, Big L, all these other rappers died because of people's jealousy or their their penchant for violence, and and I know the hip hop industry gets a big miss of it because of what it is, because what the culture is part of, our community. But, it's just, we need to stop that, people. We need to really, realize something that, being hate does not, help you in any situation. It does not, it does not make your life better. Envy and jealousy and stupidity, you took away, whoever did this took away a great artist and a great man. But today's his birthday. I want to acknowledge it. As any other birthday, it should be celebrated. Maybe someday down the future, it can be like almost like Martin Luther King or any other some of our more well-known and illustrious people of history become a holiday. Rest in peace, Pac. We miss you, brother. This is your man all the way, George Page. Don't like, subscribe. Don't subscribe. I'm out.